Hey, I'm John Kraft. I'm the founder and CEO of Binary Anvil, and I'm sitting here with George Gardner, the founder and CEO of GA Precision. And we got our teams of people together this year to have a company event, FaceTime, do some shooting together and talk about websites, and that's what brings us to Missouri.
I'm George Gardner, President and CEO of GA Precision. GA Precision is a precision rifle company based here in Kansas City, Missouri. We kind of got started about 24 years ago. Aficionado, I like shooting high powered. I was a police officer and part of the SWAT team, and I just wanted to build a better mousetrap. Originally, it was just a hobby that kind of turned into a job. So over the years, we've gotten to be a lot bigger. We're 20 employees strong and serving our nation's law enforcement, military, and gun aficionados across the nation.
Best hunting rifles you're going to get, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. We're a precision rifle based company. We build long range rifles, precision rifles that are accurate. Our main customer base would be law enforcement marksmen, military marksmen and snipers, and then competition shooters in F-class, PRS, and bench rest. So John was...
Yeah, kind of found gap.
Yeah, so John was looking for an M40 rifle. He's in the Marine Corps and was looking for an M40 rifle and stumbled upon us on our very small informational website we had at the time.
Yeah.
And we got to talking about him wanting a rifle and what he did for a living building websites. And I had him look at what we had at the time, and he convinced me that they could do a much better service to us than what we were currently had. And we did some horse trading, and that's how it first started.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's convinced. I think when I first met George and I was asking him questions about rifles, he was a problem solver. It wasn't just the accuracy of the rifle, it was the purpose plus the rifle build. And I think something Anvil had in common with Gap is we are very consultative. We want to solve a client's problems, right? It's very important to know where the client needs to be and what they need to accomplish, and that's what we like to help with. So George needed a new website and I needed an awesome rifle.
Yeah, the same thing goes as John's very good at explaining what websites should be used for at a company. As a company president, I just look at the website as being informational, but John taught me that websites can be used for much more things. You can use them for cataloging, you can use them for inventory, obviously you can use them for selling stuff online and shipping. And we went from a very small site to a very large, fast site now.
Yeah, I think like a lot of companies and a lot of founders, George makes awesome rifles. But when it comes to technology and commerce, there's just a lot of moving parts. And I think we were able to help with some of that. And even as a younger company, George gave us a lot of freedom to work with his brand that I don't think a lot of companies would have given us 15 years ago. And we're talking about an industry where the average relationship is, I think, 2.5, 2.8 years, something like that. And I think 15 years later, our staff's out here having a great time together, and we just got done building George's third website.
We appreciate, the relationship and that you picked our range and our facility to come do your annual employee get-together. I think everyone had a good time, and it was interesting to see a lot of people who, are in the computer internet industry and enjoy marksmanship and firearms. So.
Yeah, and we have a lot of staff members that hunt and shoot, but them coming out here and hitting targets at 900 or 1,000 yards, that's impressive. And these people are getting trained up by George's staff in a 4-hour period, right? So they're being introduced to the bolt gun, they're being ran through, getting that gun on, and then how to walk it out to distance, in a controlled environment. But if you are a shooter and you've never made a shot like that, once you do, there's something that goes off inside you. You start to really like it.
It's cool from seeing it from an instructor standpoint. Someone who's never shot past 200 or 300 yards would be the average deer hunter, to making a shot at 4 and then 7 and 1,000. Just like a light bulb went off, and they just get really excited, and it's a good feeling for them, and it's a great feeling for us. So.
George made a rifle for my son, and I think my son's first deer was shot at 460 yards.
Yep.
Yeah. As the internet evolves, for lack of a better term, larger companies will make front ends for their commerce systems, and they're dealing with a lot of variables, and they don't always perform as fast as clients want them to perform. So with Magento and Adobe Commerce, people started to make headless implementations of them. Not all headless implementations are really that great, but Binary Anvil, we took that time during COVID and we made a killer headless, and this had been on our books for years, in our plans for years. It's just, when can you take people away from the clients you're serving to make that? And I think George has similar problems. Like now George is at the point where you're helping develop new rounds and cartridges and all that crazy stuff. And you know, over the last 2 years, we built Flux, which is a headless component to Adobe Commerce. And it really makes it a rocket ship. Like if you go to Gap's site, it is fast, it is super fast.
So our new website's great. Like I said before in the discussion, it's extremely fast. Everything, like right off the bat when you jump to it, it switches from page to page really quickly and navigates very easily. My staff really likes it because there's so much more with the full version of Magento versus what we had before. Obviously there's going to be a learning curve. Ryan's very excited to learn its capability, and we're excited to see what it does for us in the future.
And I will say, one of the pros Gap has going for it is most of George's employees are very technical. And they may be technical in another industry, but they're able to understand capabilities. So, George, over the years, we've gotten very clear about what he wants his people to be able to do day in, day out, repetitively, and what Anvil comes in and does quarterly or semi-annually, things of this nature. And a lot of automation too. So instead of having to go in and check 10 boxes, 20 times to process an order, it's integrated with the ZRP, and there's a lot more automation than they've ever had.
Yeah, so again, the speed's probably the biggest thing that I've gotten. The Precision Rifle series is something I've been part of since its initiation, and it's got a great website, but it's always been kind of slow. So of course, Shannon Kay and Ken and other people that have seen it are like, God, your website's so fast. And I think a lot of people are under the understanding that just has to do with how much memory is in the back or what kind of server you're on. And I've learned in talking to John and his people that that's not necessarily the case. You have to have the horsepower in the site itself. So that's been the biggest. I know that some of the other guys in the industry that have carts and sell things have seen the new enterprise that we put in on this new site, and they're maybe more wondering what we're doing. Maybe we'll get into their business a little bit. I'm not sure. Like other competing guys, notice we had a smaller site before. Now they see a lot bigger one, and maybe they're wondering what we're going to do with it. But they just have to find out.
And it's similar to firearms, right? So if you talk to these fellas and you're like, what barrel is going to make my gun shoot the best, or what scope's going to make me perform the best, it's really not one thing. It's a little bit of that entire solution, right? So getting to know George, this is what the stock's doing and what a good stock is. This is what a good bed job is. This is what a good barrel is. These are barrels that shoot straight, not barrels that shoot at an angle. And internet's like that now. Commerce is like that now. It's not all where you host. The three main things you need is you need a client with a good vision, right? You need an agency that's going to hear and understand that vision. And then you need good software, right? And that's where it gets tricky, because we have seen a lot of sites built on good software, and the owner had a poor vision, or the company had a poor vision, or the company executed it poorly. Those are the three legs of this stool that you need. And I think they exist very well in this relationship.
And I think, some of it coming as a business owner, you think what you have maybe is good enough, and you kind of stymie yourself into thinking what you have is good enough, and you don't see the future, what a better site or spending a little bit more money would actually get you. And you was very helpful in telling me, that I needed to grow in that area.
Well, and I think it's a matter of talking to George's team members, right? Because as all companies grow, different folks within the company are going to be responsible for different areas that the website impacts. Shipping, putting new products on, things of this nature. So at Anvil, we've got to talk to those people too. We've got to get into their shipping. Those fellas shipping, they're going to know the real problems with the software, right? And untangling that for them, I think we've done well with.
So if precision rifles interest you, or learning more about rifles or shooting, you can reach us at gaprecision.net. Always available to help people out get into their first rifle or get into their type of shooting sport.